In the first half of the show, we played you those clips from Cornel West and from CNN, Cornel West and Tavis Smiley advocating for the poor. Steve Harvey saw that same interview I showed you and said that, called them Uncle Toms.
What?
Yeah, like the opposite of what, yeah. During his syndicated radio show, comedian Steve Harvey called out Cornel West and Tavis Smiley for their poverty bus tour while defending President Barack Obama. So, Steve Harvey, I don't know if you know Steve Harvey, he hosts Family Feud now, and he used to have a show on the whatever, and he used to wear a toupee for 15 years. He's shaved his head now. He has, and so you can take a guy who makes those kind of decisions, that kind of judgment, to wear a toupee for 15 years on television, and now shaves his head, because he's got guts now after it was been made cool for 20 years, after Michael Jordan and Bruce Willis. I just wanted to say that about Steve Harvey. We all know you wore a toupee, and thought I'd make fun of you. All right, can we get back to some more real news? Let's get back to some more real news. Now, I was watching.
I just love the fact that those are the guys you call in Uncle Tom. You don't call Clarence Thomas. You don't call Michael Steele. You don't call.
Right. Yes, not Michael Steele.
Yeah, you don't call.
Not Clarence Thomas. That's be the two guys I can think of. Oh, how about
the Godfather Pizza guy?
Oh, Herman Cain.
You don't call him.
He's not. No. J.C. Watts. No. J.C.
Condoleezza Rice.
Condoleezza Rice. No, it's Cornel West. Boy, wow, wow, wow. So, okay, let's go to, so now there's a movie called, am I pronouncing it correctly, Restrepo?
Yeah.
So there was a movie about the Afghan war called Restrepo.
Great movie.
It's a great movie.
Good book.
Didn't read the book. I don't read books. Yeah. I read book reviews. And you sound just as smart at parties, and that's all that really counts. So, his name, how do you pronounce his last name? Younger?
Sebastian Younger, I believe.
Sebastian Younger.
Could be wrong.
So he did this documentary, won Sundance Film Festival Best Documentary. It lost the Academy Award to The Inside Job. And, you know, it's funny, there's no right-wing documentaries that ever get noticed at Sundance. Oh, that's because they're liberals.
That's right, Jimmy.
That's because they're liberals at Sundance, and that's because the Academy Awards are all liberals. Yeah. Okay, so...
for some reason, people never vote for Look at My Even Bigger Yacht, the documentary.
I can't believe that didn't get the...
Yeah, suck the fumes.
Yeah. Okay, so Sebastian Younger was being interviewed on CNN about the Afghan war, and I thought a guy who made a movie about the Afghan war and how horrible it was would be all for getting us the hell out of there because he could see the dead end that he is, but I was really surprised that he had these things to say. Why should we be staying in Afghanistan? It's because we left too quickly the first time we were there. I didn't even know we were there the first time. Here's Sebastian. Let's play clip number 1 to explain it to us.
I think historically one of the things that we need to remember is that when the United States, walked away from Afghanistan in 1990, of course we supported the Mujahideen as they fought the Soviets during the Cold War. The Soviets pulled out, and we really pulled out almost as quickly. We could have supported Afghan society with schools and bridges and roads and all of the things that...
Yeah, all the things that, you know, we can't afford to do here at home right now. All the things that we should be doing, investing, building roads and bridges and schools and hiring teachers. We're doing the exact opposite. We're firing teachers so we can have this war in Afghanistan. That's right, this war we can't even afford. We have to borrow the money for Afghanistan. But, you know, all the things that we should be doing in Afghanistan, we're not even doing here. But you think we should do them there. That's okay. And he goes on. Let's play clip number 2.
And we really pulled out very quickly, and Afghanistan just imploded. And in that chaos, Al-Qaeda found a safe haven. So I think we don't want to repeat history. Ultimately, the tracking and killing of bin Laden.
So he says we don't want to repeat history. He says we don't want to repeat history. You mean the history of a foreign country occupying Afghanistan, getting their ass kicked by the people who live there, draining their treasury, dumping trillions of dollars into an endless, winless war, and then leaving, and having it be exactly how it was when you entered? You mean that history? That's not the history he talks about. No, he's saying we don't want to repeat the history of people ever leaving. That's what he's saying. You don't want to repeat the history. Can we go back and play that clip again? Let's play that clip again. All the way through. We'll play it all the way through this time.
And we really pulled out very quickly, and Afghanistan just imploded. And in that chaos, Al Qaeda found a safe haven. So I think we don't want to repeat history. Ultimately, the tracking and killing of bin Laden came from intelligence, some of which was gathered on the ground in Afghanistan. I don't think you can gather that intelligence from a few scattered bases where we have special forces. I mean, you need to be on the ground talking to people. That's not something you're going to do with a very light imprint in Afghanistan. So there you have it. You know, if you want to kill bin Laden, I think you do need substantial forces on the ground. If you want to continue those efforts, I think it's going to take some real presence on the ground of line infantry in bases around the country.
Okay, the only thing I would say, and he's right about that, if you want to kill bin Laden, you got to have the people, boots on the ground, to get that intelligence. And but I don't know how long he's been in Afghanistan. We killed bin Laden. That would be the one, that's the one little thing he doesn't tell. We killed bin Laden.
And how many other bin Ladens are we creating when we have an inaccurate drone strike that kills a wedding of innocent people?
Yes. Yes.
You know, it's a complicated issue, and you know, I think it's hard to say you should absolutely do this one thing, you should absolutely do this other thing.
We should absolutely get out.
But you know, there's negative repercussions to both things, to pulling out and to staying there. And the question is which is more damaging? And my gut is that it tells me that this is just another Vietnam, and that we should
we have to get out at some. Well, let's play the next clip, which will kind of let's play the number 3.
I believe the number of children in schools has gone up 7-fold. A third of those are girls, which is an extraordinary change for Afghanistan. There are many areas of Afghanistan, of course, where there's no fighting at all. And I heard that it's one of the fastest growing economies in that part of the world. Of course, in part because there's such a huge infusion of foreign aid. But nevertheless, there are cell phone towers, there are high rises in Jalalabad. I mean, I was in Afghanistan in the 1990s, and it's really a radical transformation of that country, and particularly of the larger cities. All of that will be inherited by the Taliban if the West simply walks away overnight. I don't think that's being contemplated, but if you sort of think in those terms about what our decisions are, everything that the West has built there will basically be inherited by the Taliban if we leave too quickly.
Sebastian, you know why everything that we've built there will be inherited by the Taliban? You ready for this? Sit down. I don't know if you know this, because the Taliban live there. They live there. It's their country. So when we leave, all the stuff that we left behind is theirs, because they live there. They're not leaving. We are.
Shouldn't the fact that the Arab Spring is happening awaken people to the fact that there's a limit to how much you can shove democracy down people's throats? It's either going to take or it doesn't. And in most cases, it really doesn't. It has to organically happen from inside the population, and it just doesn't seem like it's going to happen there.
It's not going to happen there. It hasn't ever happened. There isn't a country there. Yeah. That's not a country. That's land. That's kind of, there's a border.
Occupied by warlords.
Occupied by different warlords. It's not a real country. And, you know, you say, oh, you know, you don't want to have all that stuff we built, the Taliban will inherit. Yeah, it's their country. We can't do anything about it.
You know, we
need to come back here and build our country. What do you think makes us a stronger country? If we build a school in Afghanistan or fire thousands of teachers in America? What do you think makes us stronger? If we hire thousands of teachers here or get the hell out of Afghanistan? What would make us a stronger country? Do you think if we had build roads and bridges here in America to build our economy and make it stronger?
I think if Rupert Murdoch owned more TV stations, it would make America
it would probably
stronger.
Help.
Because there would be a purer message to angry people to help them vote against their own economic self-interest. The water wouldn't be muddied by contrasting messages. It would be so much easier if he owned them all and he could just get that one pure message out.
So you're so right about that, Paul. And, you know, Rupert Murdoch, he can't believe.
I couldn't resist going an hour without bagging on
He can't believe,
Rupert Murdoch.
Yes. And he, you know, he can't believe the things that people are saying about him. in their private voicemails. He's hurt. He's hurt. He's heard some horrible things.
I almost missed that.
Yeah.
I almost missed that. Now, I'm not going to blame the, and perhaps I'm steering this, taking control of this away from you, but
okay.
Is it fair to say that while he isn't responsible for the riots that are happening in London, isn't the culture that he helped feed there, the close relationship between the media, the police, and the politicians, isn't
when
that
you say close, you mean incestuous and corrupt,
relationship?
The corrupt relationship?
Yes.
It was a corrupt relationship.
Isn't that what the groundwork is laid that is the reason why the riots are happening?
Well, you know what? It's good that you bring that up. There's a young lady from CNN International I was watching just last night. Now, everything I've heard about these England riots is that it's just hoodlums. This isn't about anything. This is just hoodlums, right? These punks with nothing to do. And then I was watching the CNN
The 92
last night.
riots here were actually about breakdancing.
Yeah, they were just a bunch of punks.
That's right.
You know, so if you were, maybe if you were in another country and you heard about the LA riots, it would be reported like how we're reporting the English riots. Like, oh, there was some kid got killed by a bunch of cops, and then some people were demonstrating, and now a bunch of punks are rioting. That's yeah. There was they were up. Reginald Denny drove his truck into South Central, and they dragged him out, and that started the riot. That's what they would say.
Yeah,
probably. That's how. So here. That's how they're reporting the English riots here. Okay, so here, where is that? Did I send it to you?
No, JR
I didn't send that to you?
No.
You son of a dog.
Let's reenact the riots.
Well, what she said, basically, there was a reporter who's been on the streets, and she said, that a lot of these people who are rioting are young people who are unemployed, 17-year-old kids who, by the way, because of the austerity measures in England, they cut all the money for youth clubs. They didn't reduce it. They cut
education.
Them. And they're cutting
college scholarships.
Yes, so they cut.
Hope. You're taking hope.
So there's no jobs. It's more expensive to go to college, and you got rid of their youth clubs. So they're wandering the streets all summer with literally nothing to do. Young men with no jobs, harder to go to college, and no job prospects. And you're wondering, why could this be happening? Wait a minute. You mean we just gave the country's economic wealth to a plutocracy of people who run the banks, which they did, and then you're going to make the people who didn't have anything to do with it pay for that? Yes, that's what they're doing. And you're going to cut social programs that help people who are poor and middle class. Yes, we are. And they're rioting. Get out of here. I don't know if you remember, right before earlier this year in May, there was 250,000 people protested in London peacefully, to protest the austerity measures that are happening there. And now, time for peaceful demonstrations, seem to be over.
Yeah.
So, this is what happens. This is the let them eat cake.
Yes.
This is.
Is it fair to say that this is a glimpse into our future if things continue? If you keep ignoring the pain of the poor and the middle class in this country, that this is what we're going to see years from now?
I can't believe that we're not seeing it now. I can't believe that with a quarter of all mortgages underwater because of a fraudulent banking system built on fraud.
With nobody held accountable, nobody in jail.
No one. So let's just, let me break it. We started the show this way, we'll end it this way. Let me break it down one more time. So S&P comes out, lowers our rating from AAA to AA+.
Tell me a little bit about S&P, Jimmy. Where were they in 2008? What kind of a job were they doing?
Well, they were doing a heck of a job. They were doing as good a job as Brownie did in New Orleans. They gave Lehman Brothers a AAA rating up until the month they went bankrupt and collapsed. Same thing with Bears and Stearns. AAA. All those toxic assets, all those worthless mortgages that are now underwater in America, AAA from S&P. So the people charged with telling us what's garbage and what's not said it's all great. So the thing that this housing bubble was built on, S&P engineered. Because if they wouldn't have rated
They were the health inspector that gave the cancer the thumbs up, basically.
They said the rotted meat was prime beef. And now they're telling us that we're not going to be able to pay back our treasury bills when everyone knows we are going. They're the George Bush of rating company. They do the opposite. Whatever they say, the opposite is true. Just
it's like the Academy Awards, where somebody gets the Academy Award years after they actually should have gotten it. So the S&P now is trying to make up for their past fuck-ups by saying, we don't want to get burned again by saying that something was unhealthy when it. Yeah, it's not good.
These guys, and the fact that anybody listens to S&P. Was I supposed to take another break? I'm good.
Yeah.
The fact that anybody listens to these morons from S&P. I mean, morons. Morons.
You know what, Jimmy, to be fair, I don't know if it's fair to call them morons or if they're greedy and they're understaffed and they're not admitting that they're understaffed and they're not covering the companies that they should be.
No. This is not about understaffment. This is not understaffment. This is with a political agenda.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Oh, really? Well, how do you think that because this came from the chairman of S&P. This wasn't an underling who's overworked. This is the chairman saying this. So if you can't rely on the chairman of the rating agency to get it right, then I guess, well, first of all, you can't. You can't rely on them. They've been wrong consistently. They've been wrong. They've been wrong about everything.
Yes. I think it's more about greed than about ignorance.
They're certainly not ignorant. Yeah. No, I agree with you there.
Okay.
I don't think it's ignorance. I think that they're.
They don't want to lose their prestige, so now they're trying to make up for lost ground.
Yeah. Yes, they're corrupt, and they do it in a dumb way. They do it in a way that every investor sees as. That's what I'm saying. Like it's like we all know you're wrong about this because as soon as they downgraded American Treasuries, the stock market took a tank. And what did everybody do? All the smart investors, they bought Treasury bill. They went and bought so our country's.
Not heading in a good place, but Dancing with the Stars is on.
Oh, did you see the Bachelor pad on Monday? I think Vienna is really going to lose it this time. I actually did see the Bachelor pad, right? I watched news, and then I watched the Bachelor pad.
Do us a favor. If we've depressed you so much this hour that you feel like you're going to go hang yourself, at least give your country a little salute and do it dressed as a pilgrim.
We have very quick. Let me show you what's wrong. What we should be doing is taxing millionaires right now. A one-time 15% tax on the wealthiest 2% would cut our deficit in half. That's according to David Stockman, Ronald Reagan's budget director. But the problem is the people who are supposed to be communicating that and repeating it, the way politics works is you keep having your message repeated verbatim over and over and over. And here's Nancy Pelosi, the leader in the House for the Democrats, who's supposed to be making that point. And here's what's wrong. I like to call her Nancy Pelosi.
So, they do that. You think this is really going to hurt real people? Well, I hope not. How could we have severe cuts to our domestic agenda, the education of our children, for example, and not one red cent coming from those who can afford to share the sacrifice that is necessary to reduce the debt?
Boom, she's got her message. She's got it. And how could we not ask well, how do I say this without, I don't even know what to, I can't, I don't know what my message is.
It's like she's not sure which entree to order. That's the importance that she's giving this.
Should I get the hollandaise on the side or should I don't know. How is your salmon?
And that's why the Democrats have consistently dropped the ball with protecting the middle class.
I mean, even someone who's on the right side of the issue can't get it out of her mouth.
And that's where the right, is that the Democrats, for the most part, are pussies who don't know how to fight.
Yes, I don't know. I don't like that sexist language, Paul. I don't understand it. All right, I think we've come to the end of the show. I hope it was...
was it as depressing for you as it was for me?
Well, it's the news, Paul.
It is. The news doesn't have to be upbeat.
With the news.
It shouldn't be.
The good news is they won 2 seats in Wisconsin. That's kind of good news. They got 2 of those out. And, well, although it's being couched as a loss for the Democrats. I'm Jimmy Dore. You can catch me at jimmydorecomedy.com. And this Saturday at we're doing a show called Poppin' Politics, which is a comedy show with video, sketch, stand-up. And Paul's going to be there. TV's Frank Conniff.
Frank Conniff.
From Mystery Science 3000. David Feldman will be there. That's you can go to my website, jimmydorecomedy.com, and click on a link. It's this Saturday. Tickets are only $10.
Jimmy, that's ridiculous.
It's been called the funniest show in Los Angeles.
What a value.
By me.
What a value that is. Yeah.
You'll be there. So
Yes.
it's going to be a fun, funny show. See you Saturday, Nerd Melt. And you can catch Paul on his podcast, the Mental Illness Happy Hour podcast. And
Yeah. The website for that is mentalpod.com.
Okay. Thanks for having me sit in. Thanks to everybody here. Thanks to JR, Jesse, everybody for helping me. And for Tom for calling, Jenk for sitting in. I hope you're feeling better. We'll see you next time on The Young Turks.
Welcome back to TYT. Anna and JR with you. Here's a story that Jesus cannot wait to do. Okay, Jesus has been bugging about this story since the moment I walked into the office, so I gotta do it. No, I'm just kidding. Gawker released this video of Barney Frank, Representative Barney Frank, while he was talking to Rachel Maddow. Okay, and something disastrous happened in the middle of the interview.
Well, it's up for debate as to what exactly happened. We'll see first. I don't know.
We have to figure out, all right, what do we do from here? And you're right. We've got to get some jobs. And we have to deal with the debt. And there's one way to do it. We are today spending $140 billion a year, approximately, on Afghanistan and Iraq.
Did you guys catch that? One more time. Listen.
We have to figure out, all right, what do we do from here? And you're right. We've got to get some jobs. And we have to deal with the debt. We've got to get some jobs. We've got to get some jobs.
Okay. So if you guys missed it, he said, we have to figure out what we're doing from here. And he's moving. And, you know, there's maybe a creak in the chair. Maybe it's a leather chair.
Right.
But there was an audible sound. It was, some are considering a fart. A loud fart. Now, and he even tilted sideways, you know, he may have lifted up a hip, all that, you know, there's the telltale signs. So let's play the next one after that just to see, we just cut at that point to really see if you can tell if that's the way it works out.
We have to figure out, all right, what do we do from here? And you're right. We've got to get some jobs. And we have to deal with the debt. We've got to get some jobs. We've got to get some jobs.
I love the replay, like the superfluous replay.
So the question, did he fart, do you think?
I think he farted, and it's poor Barney Frank. You know, everyone. It sucks because he's talking about something so important, and now everyone is distracted. No one's paying attention to what he's saying because he totally does.
Well, no.
That's the thing. If you look at his facial expression and you look at the way he moves and you hear the sound, it's a fart. There's no denying it. There's a small possibility that it was a leather chair, but here's the thing. Those television studios never have leather chairs, right? They always have like one of these chairs that we're sitting on right now with the cloth. So I guess it's a possibility, but I highly doubt it.
He was on a remote. I think he was on a remote location on that. He wasn't like in the studio, but still, why would they have a leather chair on the remote location? Now, this is one of the signs, because I was, you know, I don't want to just say it because I don't have a definitive conclusion to it, but he's rocking a lot at first. And as soon as it lets go, he's chill. He's like, okay, good. Kind of sinks.
That's true. That's true. That's true. Oh, I feel
There's
so bad.
so many signs. I mean, we've also, what movie was that? I Love You, Brother, or something. I Love You, Man, right? And when he's showing off the house, and then Paul Rudd doesn't know what's going on, and the guy's talking about how the telltale signs, this guy's trying to make sure his girl's away from him so he can let one go. I mean, it kind of fit in this situation.
And you see like the butt turn a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, like good technique.
He hit all the points.
And also, let's say he didn't fart, right? Why would he be moving around like that at all?
He's just trying to find a comfortable spot in the chair. Maybe his wallet was in the wrong spot, and he's trying to, you know, sometimes your wallet, if you have a lot of stuff in it, you kind of shift.
That's true. That's true.
Right?
Right.
I don't know. And this is the thing. It's obviously it's becoming like a big thing. It's a big deal. A lot of people are talking about it. So I mean, do you address this if you're the congressman?
I wouldn't address it. I would just let people wonder because
no,
right now no one.
You definitely can't address it.
Can you imagine Barney Frank goes on the Rachel Maddow show? He shows up again and says like, Rachel, I need to address something that happened during the last time you interviewed me. I let one rip. I couldn't help myself. I'm an older gentleman.
The cheeseburgers were great that night, though.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's all. That substantive story brought to you by the Young Turks.
So I mean, I guess the question, was it or was it not?
It was a fart. There's no question.
It could be a question. I bet some people deny
unanimous
it. I bet you a lot of
decision.
people deny it.
He should deny it. I would deny it.
No, I'm saying I bet a lot of people don't think it was. I think they deny it just with just as much information as we have. They're like, no way. I bet you watch. We'll let them decide.
Yeah, we report, you decide.
We're not a poll because we don't care enough.
No, we're not going to pull this. But tell us in your comment section. All right, Jennifer Grey says that she is happy about the fact that Kenny Ortega, who is a director, will remake the 1987 classic film Dirty Dancing. So there's Jennifer Grey, Baby from the original Dirty Dancing. And, you know, she says that she is 100% in favor of it. She says, I love Kenny Ortega and trust that he will do something special with Dirty Dancing remake. She also says that she's blown away by all the love expressed by Dirty Dancing. Makes me want to see it again. So grateful to have been part of it. So she's in favor of it. She's very supportive. She will probably not be cast as Baby in the new Dirty Dancing.
No.
Okay, but she might have some role in the movie.
Yeah, they were point out there's some kind of role. Who knows what it's going to be.
Right, so that's probably why she's really happy and excited about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I assume you've seen this movie a million times like every other woman has.
I've seen it a couple times. I did enjoy the movie.
You don't own it, though?
I don't own it, no.
Okay.
Why would you own it when
Are you
have
excited
Netflix?
every time you hear the name of the movie? Do you kind of go, oh?
No, I like it. I like the movie a lot, but I don't go, oh.
Because, like, this is one of those things.
I'm not like Rick Ross. I don't go,
I mean, this... why? I mean, yeah, they're remaking everything else.
People like the movie, JR. JR, why do you like the things that you like? Because people, for some reason, find the appeal. They like it.
You know what I liked? I liked the Super Bowl when the Rams won and beat the Titans.
You want to know what I didn't like? The Super Bowl when the Rams won.
Well, let me finish,
I don't care.
right? But here's the thing. I liked the Super Bowl when the Rams won and beat the Titans, right? I don't want it to happen again. I'd like the Rams to win, you know, again, but not in the exact same fashion and watch the exact same thing with just a different twist. Or maybe they wear a different uniform and the younger players do it again. Well, I don't want to see the same thing that I already like changed a little bit with new people and new directors trying to recreate something that I already like. If you're recreating something, the last one is probably no good. If I'm doing something over again, I'm like, oh, that one sucked. Let me do it again. We have to recreate the same thing that we already like.
Okay, so there's something that we can actually agree on. Okay, I thought you were going to hate on the people who love the first version of Dirty Dancing and want to watch it, you know, a couple times rather than just once. But do I think that there should be a remake of this movie? No, because remakes always destroy the movie. Remakes are never better than the original. Never. I mean, give me a case. I would love to hear one case where the remake was better than the original movie.
Brown Paperback remix.
I don't even know what that is.
I don't know. It's one of his songs. These kids, you know. I don't know. Well, I don't know. I don't want to put out the argument about not liking the movie because that's just a matter of opinion. I'm not going to tell people not to like the movie. But can we see a little part of the preview from 1987? I think it was that movie. It was 87.
She thought it would be just another summer vacation.
Who's that? Oh, them. They're the dance people.
But it turns out to be the time of her life.
Watch me now! I can't even do the merengue.
I'm not sure who you are, but I don't want you to have anything to do with those people again.
Baby, I don't see you running up to Daddy telling him I'm your guy.
Will, with my father, it's complicated. I will tell him.
I don't believe you, baby.
She shows him all he can be. Dirty Dancing, starring Patrick Swayze, Jennifer Grey, and Cynthia Rhodes. Get ready for the time of your life.
Yeah, oh my God.
Come on, I want to go see that movie again. I do. Look, that movie had so many great themes. It had so many great themes, okay? It had the theme of the girl who comes from the conservative family. She hasn't...
I hate this song.
Okay, I'm not a big fan either. Okay, wrap it up. I have a point to make. Okay, no, I'm just saying, like, she comes from the conservative family, you know, she's been sheltered all her life, she hasn't explored her sexuality yet, and then comes Patrick Swayze. Who doesn't miss Patrick Swayze, by the way? But anyway, here comes the guy who's the rebel, and he kind of opens up her world, you know what I mean? And then she starts to discover something that she never thought that she would discover before.
And then she
starts living her life. But anyway, that's just one of the themes. Another theme is, here comes the rich girl, and she falls in love with a guy who is not rich, a guy who comes from, you know, poor background, who has to work, and she's exposed to that, and she wants to help. And there was another part of the movie where one of the actresses had to get an abortion, and that was a serious topic. And I thought that it was an interesting way that the movie tackled that topic. So look, there were a lot of themes in that movie that I appreciated and I liked. It wasn't one of these cheesy like romantic comedies that really had no meaning, and it made people like think, oh, I want to have a relationship like this. One of those movies where you walk out of the theater and you start thinking to yourself like, oh, I wish my boyfriend were like that. It's not like that. It actually has real themes in it, and I love that. If you don't like Dirty Dancing, fine, okay? But don't hate on people who do like that movie.
I didn't do it.
And I don't want to see it remade. I don't.
Okay, because then like what the director that she's praising is the High School Musical director.
Yeah,
so,
which is disastrous.
But the thing is, everybody loves High School Musical.
Everyone is 12.
I don't really know why, but they do. But I mean, it's now the one argument. I know I brought up the argument against remaking things, but it's because kids that are 12 now don't know anything about Dirty Dancing. But we got these things called DVDs and DVD players. You can watch those old movies.
You got Netflix.
How did he get that?
Netflix.com/TYT.
Oh, and okay, and then I'm sorry. There's a dance theme for these movies because by the way, they're also going to redo Footloose. Mm-hmm. Can I show one reason why they shouldn't do that?
I thought this was a party. Let's dance!
And what the fuck is he about to do? What? That's his date. He just so watch him do this. Come on, dude. Come on, man. What are they gonna do with that? Are they gonna recreate that?
I don't know. I'm not that interested in Footloose, or the remake of Footloose, or of Dirty Dancing. But look, you made your point. We agree.
But there's some serious themes in Footloose. There's Christian parents who don't want people to dance. And then the whole town is shut down. And then the rebel comes in with his fucking spiky hair, and he's like, I'm cool. You can dance with me. And he takes over.
Okay, by the way.
And he beats up the asshole who had the hottest girlfriend in town, and he gets the girlfriend.
Look, I get it. You don't like the movie.
This guy can dance. I like this part. This was the best part.
Oh, JR's so unbearable.
Watch him.
Please.
Go ahead on, white boy.
That is pretty, look, that is pretty good.
He was the best dancer in the movie.
Damn.
He was pretty good, man.
Are you done?
I think so. I don't know yet. But that girl, when that last guy was dancing, she was very excited.
Take everything JR says about movies with a grain of salt. This is the guy who avoids going to the movie theaters at all costs because he hates going to the movies. So he's just anti-movie, okay? He's anti-movie. He's even anti-what the flick, okay? That's some internal drums.
I'm just
Ricky
saying.
would have died if he didn't play that sound clip at least once. At least once in this hour. Okay, anyway, thanks guys. Thanks for watching TYT. I know Cenk wasn't around, but he will be back tomorrow. He had an important meeting today. And we'll see you guys tomorrow, same time as today.
Look out for all those preachers out there stopping you from dancing. Fuck them.
See you tomorrow.